All right, I'm going to mute everybody as we join today and we get ready. I'm in Nashville at the 5-5 looking at my building. Julie Ritchie, I just come down here and look at it. And I'm like, for the love of God, can we start building this structure? Guys, if you have never built anything from scratch and did it in a big city, then let me tell you something. You have to basically wake up every day and babysit the subcontractors, the city, can we get some movement? Can we get some action? Can we get something in the ground? Can we get a budget? It is a grueling process, trust me, okay, to build something from nothing. Now, Brock Zavan, I was also just on a phone call with an EXP person. Are you in Houston? Are you in Charlotte, North Carolina? Do you think if I,
Yes.
do you think if I came to Charlotte, North Carolina, that you could put some people in a room for an event with you and I? One of the things I'm going to teach you guys today is about monetization. So I was on the phone with another EXP team that has a kind of a corporate headquarters there in Charlotte. And I was looking at potentially coming to Charlotte for a day in February. And I said, it only makes sense if Brock and I can do something together, or do an event together there where we can put more people. So let's you and I talk about that offline. Okay. Now, why would I do that? Tim McCormick, why would I invest my time and energy and money to go to Charlotte, North Carolina on my own dime? Why would I do that? Because that's really what we're talking about today on Pray Drive for Lunch, which is monetization and looking for new money. Okay. So Tim, why would I initiate that? Why would I tap into that with Brock? Why would I go to Charlotte on my own dime to do that? What would be the purpose of that?
You're going to be putting yourself in front of more people, Coach. You're looking for more people, laying the foundation.
That's right. So how many of you agree? Like I just talked to a person this morning, I'm trying to get more brand awareness in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I just reached out to a connector in Nashville and I said, man, how many different groups can you get me in front of over the next 6 months in Nashville? I see Jim Morris on here. He's going to get me in front of groups in Nashville for his events, right, Jim?
You know it.
Okay.
Ready to roll, baby.
Jim has a group. So here's the deal. My point is, what we're going to focus on today is monetization, Pray Drive and monetization. There's a whole part of my book on this, right? And it's really, how do you convert a thought into money? Okay. So I'm sitting there talking to this other EXP connection I had, who's in a whole nother state. They said, man, I got this leadership thing going on in Charlotte. And I said, man, I got Brock in Charlotte. If you could give me 20 or 30 minutes at your event, I'd be happy to come in and speak. But I got to make the numbers work. And so if I could put something with Brock together, I went from thought to action that quick. Okay. And because I'm operating on a very basic premise, and the premise is you don't need more money, you need more people. The people have the money. And what I'm telling you here is I believe that if I can get in front of people, we can generate money. But you don't need the same people. You need new people. Okay. So Julie Ritchie must be, hey, my coaching must be sinking in with you, because she got us a connection yesterday with the football coach for Success School who wants to move forward with us coaching his football team through Success School and his coaches. Then that led to a connection to another principal of a private school. See, what happens is you guys have got to really understand this. People are moving on about their life and they don't have time to pay attention to you, your problems, your issues, what you got going on. They got their own problems. They got their own issues, and they are so distracted that they're never going to take time to slow down and even listen to what you have to offer until you initiate a conversation with them. So if I go to Charlotte, when she said I got an event in Charlotte, I said, man, if I could work my schedule to come to Charlotte, could I get 20 minutes with your leadership team? And could I, while I'm in Charlotte, get Brock to put together a group of people in Charlotte? And could I add value to his life? And in the process, him introduce me to new people, and believing one thing, Christy Payne, that if you give me new people, we're going to generate new money. Does everybody understand that? Okay. When I go to hit my database to promote something like my Activate event next week, I'm hitting a database of 26,000 people. Okay. Now, when we hit it every day to push that, there's going to be some people that opt out. Now, here's what I told Craig. People that opt out ain't never going to buy anything from you anyway. When I opt out of people's emails, it's because I'm disinterested. I am not interested in hearing what they have to say. What's the likelihood of me buying something from somebody if I opt out of their email address? Okay, but is it still possible? Yes. I went to an event with Cardone once. There's 1,000 people in the room. He said, how many of you opted out of my email? How many of you opted out of my email address? And he said 300 people in the room who were sitting in the room that paid to go to the event. They still liked him. They still gave him money. They just didn't want to get an email every day from him. Now, so my point is, what we're really talking about today is prey drive and monetization. And I tell you, Eric White, at some point, what do they say in the South? God willing, if the creeks don't rise, I'm going to write a book on monetization. And the book is about how do you create money? And you create money through people. Every dollar that is in your pocket started in the pocket of another person. Yes or no? And they don't part with that money until you come along in their life and you say, look, I can help you with your ambition or with your problem. Okay. But for me, I think the advantage I have sometimes over people is, man, I take a thought and I very quickly convert it to a monetization. Like yesterday, I had a thought, man, I'm going to do a boot camp for one day called Tactical Connection. It's the best of my selling system with the best of my connection skills. It's one day, it's $497. I literally sat down and wrote it up in maybe, Craig, all of 17 seconds. I wrote the content. I sent it to Craig and I said, give me a funnel on this so people can purchase it. Then I tell Eric, let me promote this. Let's see if we can sign some people up. See, look at how fast we went from a thought to an action to a product. Does everybody see that? I don't need a focus group. I don't need everybody on my team to chime in on whether it's going to work or not work. It may not work, but it sure as heck is not going to work if I don't try it. Does everybody understand that? Okay. So it's like, you know what? I like this concept of tactical connection. I think it's very tactical. Everybody's always telling me they need tactical things. I'm like, okay, my selling system is very tactical, but I could put you on the phone with 45 people today. And if you're not any good, if you cannot connect with them, see, Julie, what's the first thing you noticed about how I connected with that football coach yesterday?
You talked about how you were a coach. So you formed some kind of connection with him by going to what he does, talking about coaching.
That's exactly right. See, the first thing I told him is I said, man, I went to a basketball game this week with my 10-year-old daughter. And it's the first time in 15 years that I actually missed coaching. And I laughed and he laughed. Now, once I got him laughing, now we got a connection. Now it makes it much easier. See, this is, so I could put you on the phone with 100 people today, but if you can't talk to them, if you can't connect with them, if you can't locate their problem, if you can't make a suggestion from a person of interest status, if you can't get them to want to take action, then it doesn't matter if you talk to 47 people because you don't know how to, what I call tactically connect. Okay. Janet Scott, you follow me on this? Okay. So what I'm trying to show you guys is in this book, Prey Drive, how many of you think if you took this book to Switch, you purchased it and you set it on your counter, that every day you looked at it, you'd want to activate your Prey Drive? How many of you believe that would happen? Some of you saying, yeah, come on, Alma. I actually believe just by looking at the book and seeing Coach Burt's name on it, it's going to anchor something to you and you're going to go, boom, I need to activate my Prey Drive right now. Okay. Amber Nardino, when I go to bed at night, last thing I do when I'm winding down is I open my drawer in the cabinet in my master bedroom, and I've got a book sitting in there that says The Magic of Thinking Big. Okay. And when I open it up, I just look at it. It's not even that good of a book, folks. It's just the concept of looking at a book. Man, I need to be thinking bigger. And it's the last thing I do right before I go to bed every night. Okay. So my point is, let's look at what is monetization. Monetization is exchange of money for value. If you're not making any money or not enough money, what is the world saying to you? You're not creating enough value. Okay. Now, Coach Breeden, I'm going to say this to you because I talked to John Wetmore and Eric White and I were having this discussion yesterday. I said to John, I said, why, if 70% of people are underinsured, why can't an insurance agent just pick up the phone and call people they know and start a conversation with them about getting more life insurance. Like, why do you have to buy leads? And he says, you can just pick up the phone. How many of you on this phone call, as a raise of hands, think you're underinsured in life insurance? Raise your hand. Something would happen to you today, God forbid, and you have the debt that you have, and your family had to deal with that debt, okay? And you don't have enough life insurance to handle that. I bet 70% of the people on this call are underinsured, including me, by the way. Now, so here's my point. So here's the conversation I had with Eric yesterday and John Wetmore this morning. Why does a person have to buy leads if there's 7 billion people walking around planet Earth and 70% of them are underinsured? Why can't we just talk to people we know, start a conversation, and sell them life insurance? And John Wetmore said, you can. He said, just many people are not skilled enough to do that, and they don't know enough people. And I'm like, well, that ain't me. That's for dang sure. I know too many people. And so my point here, and he said, here's what he said to me, though. It's hard to scale that. The reason people have to buy leads is it's hard to scale your skill set, coach. It's hard to scale your ability to talk to people. And he said, if you had 10,000 agents, not all of them can talk to people like you do. Not all of them know as many people as you do, but some of them do. And if I were selling life insurance today, monetization is you have a problem. You're underinsured. Okay, now let's first have some self-awareness and recognize that you're underinsured. And if I could help you make sure you weren't underinsured, if God forbid something happened to you, wouldn't you want to do it with somebody like me? Okay, now if they say yes, okay, then let's go ahead and get you taken care of right here today. That is monetization. Problem, so what are you really selling them? Are you selling them the insurance? Yes, but what you're really selling them is your skill set. And this is ultimately the fundamental relationship between I have a skill and you have a problem. Okay. And if I can take my skill and solve your problem. So Brock, Zavon, tell people on here the number one reason you're coming to me and why you're becoming a certified coach with me.
Sorry, my my wonderful mute button. Sorry, bro. Why am I coming to you for a certified coach?
Yeah. Why, out of all the people you could come to, why are you coming to me?
One is we're extremely relatable, and I just love all the material that you put out, being a coach as well. But you expedite things you don't fluff it. It's like very direct. It's to the point. And I've been around several coaches before, but like I've never had the connection and the expediting of monetization that I've ever had before. I've in 4 months, my monetization is transformed, and I'm like, why go anywhere else? Like, if the value is there, it's such a huge thing for me to be able to see what you do. And I just think the connectivity, I think that's such a huge component for me specifically.
Okay. Now listen to what he just said. Connection and expediting of monetization. Those are the problems I'm solving for him. Does everybody see that? Okay. That is monetization. He has a dream and desire to coach and speak and write and be a person of interest. I am taking my skill set and helping him do that. And in that exchange is where the monetization takes place. But here's the deal. He's going to invest a little bit of money with me. And if it works right, he's going to go out and make a lot more money than what he's going to pay me. Everybody see that? Mm-hmm. So prey drive is instinctual. It's like an animal. You know, my son loves watching these shows, Lion King, these various little shows about out in the jungle. And sometimes they're like attacking each other. I'm like, should my 2-year-old kid be watching this? Like they're killing each other in the jungle. And, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's instinctual, right? It's like, hey, they see something and they pursue it. And that's really what I'm trying to get you guys to do, which is quit thinking so much. I was working with a college athlete yesterday, and her coach brought me in to work with her because she's a #1 scorer, but she's been missing shots. So she lost all of her confidence. And I just said, hey, do you know how to shoot? Yes, sir, I do. How many shots have you taken in your career? Thousands. How many do you shoot a day? 500. Okay, quit thinking. And when you're open, let it go. Don't even think about it. Because if you have to think about it, that's really where your problem is now every time you get ready to shoot, you're thinking, what if I miss? What if I don't make a shot? What if I don't score? See, thinking is actually a liability in this scenario. You should be able to perform. Okay. That's really what you should do. So if Paige Welch said, Coach, as soon as we get done here, I got 1,000 people I want you to speak to. It's a big opportunity. I don't have time to sit down, map out a PowerPoint, think about what I'm going to say. I'm going to be like, boom, turn the camera on, Paige, and let's go. Because I know how to do this because I've been doing it. And that's called muscle memory. Okay. So muscle memory is you've done it so many times, you don't need practice to do it. You've already practiced. So what I'm trying to get you guys to draw a direct line here, because I hear people say this, I don't know how to do a funnel. I don't know what to say on Facebook. I don't know how to create a product. Here's what I don't, which ends up being, I never do anything. So I have a thought, that's prey drive. It's an instinct. Okay. I pursue that with a persistence and an intensity. Okay. With a persistence. And in my mind, I don't go to, I can't do this. I go to, there's a way to do it. Let me figure out the way to do it. Does everybody see that? So I got out and I walked around Nashville. Anytime I hit any kind of a mental block, I come to Nashville where the greatness factory is. I just get out and walk around the city. And it's like, it's the energy of the city. And I'm looking at real estate and I'm looking at the river and I'm thinking, okay, boom, 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 man, we need to be involved in more real estate. How do we purchase more real estate? And so I called my real estate agent. I said, man, I got an idea on a project. Check on this building for me. And he came back and he said, they've got it listed at 7 million. And I said, well, it may be listed at 7 million. How long has it been on the market? A long time. Okay. So what's that telling me? It ain't selling at 7 million. Now, a lot of people would go, that's a lot of money. I can't do it. My first mind goes, man, I could raise investor capital very easily and go do that. 7 million is not that much. Okay. Because you don't have to come up with 7 million. You just got to come up with 2%. So all I got to come up with was 1.4 million to buy the building. Now, can I make the numbers work? And so he said, how are you going to drive revenue? I said, I could walk through that building one time and I can tell you if I can make money with it or not. Just by looking at it. Okay. I can tell you how many offices there are. I can tell you how much is rented. Now that is prey drive to action, where most people go $7 million. I could never come up with $7 million. And they just stop right there. They just quit. I look at it as, okay, if other people can do it, I can do it. Okay. So prey drive to monetization is exchange of money for value. Now, where do people struggle here? Craig, where do people struggle? Because Craig's got an analytical nature. Where do people struggle with monetization?
It's in their mind, the paralysis by analysis, for sure. I mean, they're just thinking of all the things that they need to do. So instead of just doing the first right next thing, Eric and I had a call last week where we talked about just the next thing when, like somebody in the military, has a problem and someone dies or whatever, what do? You can't go home. You can't just say, I'm gonna pack it and game's over. You say, okay, I'm going to do the right next thing. So when you're trying to do something like this, essentially what did he do? He called his broker right away, got the answer, had a thought, called the broker, he took action. So you do the next thing. You don't wait.
All right. So this is a big thing that a lot of people are doing today, which in this economy, they're frozen. Okay. And what I tell people is take an action. When you're frozen, take an action, pick up the phone, call somebody, email somebody, text message somebody, get moving in a direction, or just do what I did, man. Change your state of energy, get outside, walk around, go somewhere where there's a lot of energy. But when you look around, I go to downtown Nashville and I look at these buildings. The building I'm in right now is $350 million. It all started with just one dude. One dude said, man, I want to build the tallest building in Nashville. And it's going to cost $350 million. And I'm going to go find people who want to invest in this. And I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to go do it again. And then I'm going to go do it again. Right? Like everything you see started in the mind of a person. And that's why I'm saying the prey drive inside of you is instinctual. But for some reason, you have what's called a consideration. And a consideration is an internal thought that prohibits an action. Here's a consideration. Well, nobody's buying any houses right now. So why even call? Here's a mortgage originator. Okay. We don't have any mortgage originators. I think I pissed them all off by pushing them. Right. I think they're all mad at me because I talk about what they should be doing. And then they get mad at me because they're not doing it. And most of them are freezing right now. It means they don't do anything. They go to their office and they literally just sit there. And I'm like, what's the probability of selling a mortgage like that? There is no probability that you have a 0 or negative probability if that is your standard MO. But some of them are literally going, well, I'm just going to wait for the economy to bounce back. I'm going to wait for the rates to come down. I'm going to wait for this to happen. Let me tell you something. Waiting for anything in my life has never helped me. Never. Okay. One of the things I was telling this young lady yesterday that I was coaching, I did that as a favor to the head coach because she and I are good friends. And I told her about a time that I was up 14 points with 3 minutes to go in a game, in one of the biggest games of my coaching career. And I went into prevent defense. I went into prevent, and I said, do you know what prevent means? She said, no, sir. I said, it's when you are trying to stall. You're trying to run the clock out to hold on to something you have. Okay. And I said, the other team came back and went ahead by 1 point. We lost that game by 1 point in the last 14 seconds of the game. And let me tell you something, it left such an impression on me. You never play not to lose. You always play to win. And playing not to lose always, listen to what I'm telling you, guarantees losing. Okay. When you wake up and play from a scared position of fear, okay, we went through that with the sewer cycle and the success cycle. I really love that model because the sewer cycle says you have conscious negative thought. This is hard. Nobody's buying a house. We're broke. We're going to run out of money. This ain't easy, right? That conscious thought then creates unconscious emotion, fear, anxiety, worry, disappointment, scared, insecurity. Then that leads to the body tightening up. Oh my gosh, every lead. Oh my God, what if I don't close this person? I'm going to go broke. What if this deal don't work? I'm going to lose everything. See, now the body's all constricted. What does that lead to ultimately? Average results. So think about an athlete that's loose. Why athletes come out and warm up an hour and a half before the game, take shots. What they're doing is they're getting loose. This is going to be a great game. I'm going to have this is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy the process. Then what that does is send the body into positive emotion, excitement, eustress, which is good stress. What does that do? Produce joy chemicals. What does that do? Loosen a person up. It just loosens them up a little bit so they can have fun. Now, when you call and it's like, oh my gosh, if I don't make the sale, I'm going to go broke. Okay, then people can sense that. People can feel that. They can feel that you're desperate. They can feel that you're pushing them. Now, there's a fine line there between that and just letting them control everything. The question I've kind of locked in on is a question that Dave Blanchard asked me. Would you like my help with this? If we've identified your problem, if we know I can help you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about this? And would you like my help moving this ball down the field? Okay. And everybody's got problems. Like this football coach that we talked to yesterday. He was expected to win a state championship and they lost a game in the second round. And so that kind of shook his kids up a little bit. Okay. So he's like, man, I need some confidence. I need my team to have confidence. We're going to be in our preseason. Like there was expectation we didn't hit. Everybody's got problems. And if you could locate those problems and solve those problems for people, then you're going to be valuable. Okay. So monetization, let me close with this, then I'll take any questions. Okay. Monetization is the exchange of money for value. Okay. And if you are not creating enough value for people, then you are not going to make any money. You can't do everything for free. There's a chance to do things for free to showcase your abilities, but everything ain't free. Okay. Sometimes, right, you pay for the services you get. So what questions do we have today on prey driving monetization? I'm trying to get you to think it and take action on it. Okay. If you hadn't got your tickets to activate January 13th, Eric, post a link. Okay. We're expecting over 2,000 people online. We're expecting 150 in the room. It's going to be an incredible day. And I'm going to teach you how to activate your prey drive every day. It's great content. If you want to come in person, I'm perfectly fine with you coming in person. We've already sold about 75. And I say sold, we're giving it to you for free, but 75 spots have already been taken. So if you want to come in person, then you need to let us know that you're coming in person. If you want to watch it online, it's important that you block out the day to actually be there, or you're not going to learn anything. So don't be one of these things where you get it, you don't show up, and kind of go back and watch it. The only people who are going to be able to go back and watch it will be the people. There's an option to get the replay and a one-to-one coaching session, I think for $47. And if you want to go back and watch the replay and get a coaching session and the book, you get a copy of the book with that. It's $47. And that's on the link that Eric's posting. Okay. Craig, make sure he's posting the correct link, the one that Caleb, that takes you to the right page, because Caleb and them redid that link, as you know.
Yeah, I don't have I pulled that off the website for the free in person. I don't have Caleb's link.
Okay. So, all right. So I'm looking at that, Craig, and you need to make sure that's not a problem. That's not the correct link. That's the old link. Okay. So Craig, post a new link. And then Craig, you need to make sure the correct link is on the website, or you're going to have people that are going to the wrong place.
It's in the works. Here it is.
Okay. All right. All right. So what questions do you guys have today? Man, I get fired up about monetization. I get fired up because it seems like I work with companies and I'm like, who's in charge of making the money around here? Like, who's in charge of calling people? Who's in charge of following up with people? Who's in charge of actually creating value for people? And everybody's so busy. And Eric has heard me say this before. Everybody's too busy being fabulous to prospect. And I'm like, man, the money comes from prospecting. The money comes from follow-up. The money comes from solving problems. The money don't come from running around. If you're going to get on Facebook with a purpose, like I do. Get on there and bring some value. And don't get on there just to goof off all day. Okay. Or Instagram. So what questions do you guys have?
Coach, the truth is nobody really wants to make sales calls. I mean,
Nobody.
Including me. And this morning, I just clicked on the list and started calling people. I didn't know what list they were on because I didn't really want to do it.
Yep.
That's what he's talking about, is just get into action, pick up the phone and call. And I just called and introduced myself. Coach Burt's team. Coach Burt believes in engagement. I'm reaching out to you today to see what you want, what you're trying to do in 2023. I didn't even know the people I was calling. It's just it's a good example of getting into action when you have a thought. I need to be on the phones.
That's right.
Call the numbers, right?
Here's what I told my team this morning. I don't like the fact that in my business model, I have to show up at the circus and perform for people, for them to buy things. Okay. I hate that part of this business model. And you'd hate it too if you had to show up at the circus as much as I do. Okay. And imagine if you were the little flying elephant that had to show up every week at the circus for people to buy something. Okay. But if you watch the George Jones and Tammy Wynette show, George Jones got to the point where he hated performing. He hated how they treated him. Of course, he drank all the time, and that was part of the big problem. But he got to the point where he just felt like they were prostituting him for money, and everybody was making money off of him, and he hated it. And so I told my team this morning, I hate the part of our business model that I got to show up and get everybody excited before they buy something. But unfortunately, that is how this business works. It's not just Eric calling people, cold calling, trying to sell them something, because it ain't going to work. So what I did is I said, Eric, call people who buy a book and say this: thank you for buying the book. You probably never bought by any other author ever, but Coach Burt believes in engagement and he wants to thank you for buying the book. And we want to know what you're doing. He wants to invite you to spend a day with him on the 13th of January. And he's going to break the book down step by step. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be his way of, and he wrote the book, so he's going to be able to break it down. I said, that's a good way to invite people to learn more if they're serious. If I bought a book, okay, if Jeff Breeden wrote a book and he called me and said, look, I'm going to be breaking this whole book down. I'm going to invite you this free day with me. And if I was serious about learning about that, I would show up to it. Then I'm excited. Then I'm more likely to purchase something, or I'm more likely to say, how do I get coached by Jeff Breeden? How do I get in the room with this guy more? Okay. But you got to go through these cycles versus Eric cold calling somebody who bought a book and trying to sell them a coaching program. Just because they bought a book doesn't mean they want to buy a coaching program. So Amber, to your question, the way I track monetization is daily. I want to know daily how many calls we made. I want to know daily how much we sold today and how much we collected today. How many calls did we make? How many resulted in true monetization, which is a sale? And how much money did we collect today? This is where a lot of people look at a quarter. I don't like that. I like knowing in real time what we did today. Because if we didn't sell anything today, we got to figure this out. You can't go long. You can't go days and days and days without selling something.
We cover that, guys, extensively on Monday, as we're kind of being a little bit more tactical in the new year. I push Coach a lot on that, just trying to get something like a real game plan besides just emotion and hype. And he's definitely on board. So Monday's Monster Producer call, if you're not in it, you should be on it. And if you are in it and you're not showing up, start showing up. But that was included for sure on Monday. And there's going to be more of that, as well as audits the first week or first Monday of every month, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, in our coaching program on Mondays, we're devoting those Mondays to assessment days, which is a day about assessment. So I go through about 7 areas to assess your business. We've also added one-to-one coaching at the end of every quarter. Okay, Heather, reach out to Mark at CoachBurt.com on that. Mark at CoachBurt.com, and then we're going to be doing assessments the first Monday of every month, and that's some of the stuff we cover. Amber, is how do you track your monetization? Okay, Corinne, what's your question?
So more just a statement than a question, just what you're saying works, because this last week, in our cycle in health coaching, people they use that as an option. And so a lot of us health coaches are like, oh crud, our income is cut in half. Like, what are we supposed to do? Right. So my brain wanted to freeze, but coach is playing over and over in my brain. And I'm like, okay, what can I do? And so I partnered with somebody who I know has a big database. We did a showcase to get people to help them set goals, right? I know I can help people set goals. That's what I do already in coaching. And we did a showcase, and then we invited people to go deeper and do like a private one-on-one session. So first showcase ever, went to Canva. There's lots of free resources out there. Went to Canva, created a workbook for people to use, so they felt like they were walking away with something. And there was 50 people there. 12 of them paid either $97 or $297 to go deeper and do one-on-one sessions with us. So it cost me nothing but my sweat equity. I spent time on Canva making the workbooks. So like, for those who are out there saying, I don't even know where to start, like, just to encourage you, there's lots of free resources. And if you just do what coach says and you just do it, I mean, that was in a 2-hour, we spent 2 hours on a Zoom. That was I'm splitting it with somebody, but that was a $2,600 2-hour session.
That's right. See,
and you just do the things.
Yeah. See, there's always something to do. What she did is she said, okay, what do I do right now? What can I do? Take the next action. That's what you can do. Okay. So good for you, Corinne. You're very coachable and it's working for you. And I'm proud of you for doing that. She's going to go through our certification program as well. So she'll be at the lodge, and I guarantee you, I'm going to show her how to make money with coaching. Okay. Whether it be health coaching, business coaching, I will show her how to make money. So today I had a thought, man. I need to reach out to Milet, see if Milet would pop in on the 13th. I need to reach out to Tim Grover, see if he'd like to pop in for 15 minutes on the 13th. I need to reach out to Tim Story, see if he'd pop in on the 13th. Just pop in for 15 minutes and support me. All they can do is what, Jim Morris? All they can do is say yes or no, right or wrong.
Yes or no. That's it.
Now, what's the probability they'd say yes if I don't ask them?
0.
Okay. So this is a game of probability, folks. And if Corinne sat there and goes, all right, my income's being cut in half this time. Okay, let's sit around and pity party. Let's go to the sewer cycle. No, what I can do is take an action. What is my next best action I can take? Call somebody, follow up. And I just bang on people and ask them. And all they can do is tell me no. And then if they tell me no, Jim Cripps, I just move on to somebody else. There's enough people who will say yes. Okay, there's enough people on the planet. Okay, so let's close this session out. We do these every Wednesday, by the way, and it helps me go deeper on the content in the book. I think chapters 8, 9, and 10 of the book are all on selling, pray, drive, and selling, because I want to show you how to take a book and make money with it. Okay, so thank you for buying the book, number one. That's helping us, and every book matters. Every book matters. If you got a team of people, if you want to do a book club, I'd be happy to pop in and do a book club with you. You get everybody to buy the book, and I'll come in and personally give you some coaching for the whole team. Okay, so that's a thought. We're about to push that heavy, Craig. Craig, we need to be pushing team leaders to say, get your whole team to buy the book, and let me pop in and do a group session for you on the book. Hey, call up Cardone and see if he'll do that for you. Call up any of the top authors out there and see if they'll do what I'm willing to do for you. Okay, and I'm willing to bet you can't even get them on the phone. Okay, but you can get to Coach Burt. Okay. Cause I'm still fighting for the little man, right, Brock? I'm still fighting for the little man out there, man. I ain't got too big to connect with people. Okay. So just go out there and let's just keep fighting, man. Thank you guys for a great
One more
Wednesday.
question in the chat.
Go ahead. What is it?
There's an SEO strategy question in chat.
All right. Do SEC strategies create a measurable advantage in sales for coaches? Yes, it does. I think when people search, if they're searching for something and you're up there and they go to you, like I've been searching for an app, for example, to your question, Earl, I've been searching for an app to write on in my iPad to plan my weeks. And so what I would do is I would just go to Google and search it. What are the best apps that serves as a writing planning tool? And then I would go research. So does it improve the probability of booking that? The answer is yes. It does improve the probability of selling something if you're up in the SEO, if you're up at the top. I fully believe that.
Thank you.
Good question. Good question. Okay. All right. Great podcast this week with Nick. That was a great podcast. And I'm going to tell you, Nick did a better job, Jim Cripps, of promoting that podcast than almost any podcast I have ever been on. He promoted it like 8 times on Reels, Instagram. And I sent a message to my digital marketing team. I said, man, we should be promoting every podcast like this dude does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He does a great job. And I just finished it this morning.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah. And that's a deep benefit to the people that go on his podcast, man, to promote it like that after the show's over. So I really, really appreciate it. I want to call Nick and tell him that.
And he does that throughout the week too. You'll still see that going on for probably the next 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved it. That was a deep value. So, all right, guys, great week this week. We appreciate you. We'll see you at the Activate event. We'll see you next Wednesday as well. Come on, Jeremy Chandler. Got that beard on there. He's got enough hair for me and him. All right. See you guys.